continued to oscillate, the 2-point function would not go to 0. But since we have interactions and there are extra quanta present in the thermal state, one of those can hit the quantum we're interested in, and it can get knocked out of its state. Coupling, that's how this works here, is to consider a Riemann propagator, where we take the propagator is equal to the free propagator plus, and the interesting physics here is actually contained in the Schroeder's self-energy. This resums to something where we have this thing, which is the free answer plus self-energy. Okay? And so as usual, the important part of the self-energy diagram for getting the decay of this correlation function will be the imaginary part of the self-energy. So very roughly, we're going to get a propagator which looks like k0 squared minus k squared, and then we're going to be adding the self-energy. And the imaginary part of the self-energy is what shifts the pole in this propagator off the real axis and gives us exponential decay. Actually, the right formula is that the 2-point function g of t will be like e to the minus gamma k t, where k is the momentum index for the particular oscillator that we're going to be correlating here.
So the second term is because like the model will be a track. The second term is
here. Yeah, this is just the self-energy diagram. This is the self-energy. So this expression gives us the sum of all of these guys. This is geometric series.
One of them except the one.
So these are all two self-energies, and this equation will resum all of them. Yes. Yeah, so actually we can imagine, let's see, okay, so, yeah, let me not comment further then. Okay, so the answer for the gamma is equal to the imaginary part of the self-energy k divided by the energy. The actual correct way to calculate the self-energy is a little bit annoying. You have to do it by calculating the 2-point function on the Euclidean circle, which represents the finite temperature state, and then you have to understand the correct analytic continuation. I'm not going to go into that in detail because the answer is just so plausible, and really that's the thing I want to write. What we find for this sigma is that it's equal to the imaginary part of sigma. It's equal to, first of all, 2 powers of the coupling. The 2 powers of the coupling are because the Schroeder diagram has one coupling here and one there, so it's proportional to lambda squared. Then there's a thermal factor, which I always have trouble remembering exactly why we have this thermal factor, so let me ignore this. And then a explosion integral. There's 2 loop momenta, and then these 3 energies. I'm going to find this in a second. All I'm writing here is an energy conserving delta function. And what this is here is this integral over these momenta, where this is the k, dk. Here we have particle 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, so 1, I'm referring to this particle. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me say, this one is n2. This one is 1 plus n3, this is n1. So what we have here is just representing the following factors. We're integrating over all possible quanta that our target quantum can collide with in a way that conserves energy and momentum. And we have factors of n1 here, that's reflecting the number of these quanta that are present in the thermal state. Then we have these factors 1 plus n2, 1 plus n3, those are the Bose factors for the final state associated with particles 2 and 3. So the decay is determined by the integral over all possible things that our particle can collide with, and a sum over the final states of things that the collision can result in. So this is just basically saying, in equations, what this picture is saying, that we can lose the quantum in our initial state by colliding with the thermal quantum. So the result of this calculation will be that the 2-point function decays at a very slow rate. If the coupling is small, this calculation is valid, but it decays in a way that's exponential. Roughly speaking, this is because the collision can happen at any time. So we get an exponential decay of roughly the probability that the particle that we inserted to begin with is still present. It's still present in the state. So, okay, doing calculations, doing perturbative finite temperature calculations is possible, but it's annoying. And going beyond perturbation theory and studying this problem where we don't have a weak coupling is really impossible. People don't have a lot of techniques for doing this. But it's widely believed that this type of exponential decay of correlation functions is a rather universal feature of thermalizing quantum systems. There's another piece of evidence for this, which doesn't come from perturbation theory, which comes from numerical simulations of spin systems. So, for example, one can consider things, simple spin systems like this one, like an Eyring spin system. Where these matrices here are the Pauli X, Y, and Z operators acting at different sites in the system. So this is an example of a nice chaotic spin chain, and enterprising people can take this type of thing and put it on a computer and exactly diagonalize this Hamiltonian to a matrix, and then construct the thermal state by taking the exponential of minus theta times the Hamiltonian, and then inserting these operators, one at time t and one at 0, and computing the answer, applying it as a function of time. And indeed, what you get in this type of system is something that looks like exponential growth for exponential decay for quite a while. You can't go to very long times because the numerical problem, well, you can't study this in very large systems, because if we want to study n spins, then we have to use a Hilbert space that is a dimension 2 to the n. And the matrices that we'll be looking at, like Hamiltonian or the thermal density matrix, are 2 to the n by 2 to the n matrices. And your computer will just run out of memory. So people can study, I think the state of the art for this is maybe 18 spins or something like that. So it's a very small system, but it's enough to see some of this very interesting dynamics. So these are things that one can do. One can study perturbation theory, and you get a slow but exponential decay, and you can study small systems, small spin systems exactly, and there you get exponential decay for a while. And this type of information has led to the following kind of picture for what happens to the 2-point function. It should decay exponentially for a long time. I don't know what I'm doing here. Just draw something exponential. And then at very late times, if the system has finite entropy, it should stop decaying and start oscillating. The reason it starts oscillating is because in a finite entropy system, this 2-point function is a sum of oscillating exponentials. And that type of a function, a finite sum, or let's say absolutely convergent sum of oscillating exponentials, can't really go to 0 at late time. At late time, it can be small, but it has to be oscillating. The value that people throw around for this sort of oscillating floor is a value which is about e to the minus f. So the wiggles on a scale of about e to the minus f. And so the transition here happens at a time of about f. If we assume that the 2-point function is decaying exponentially. This is GFT, which is actually, this is interesting. This is a case where it's slightly different to consider a pure state beta and a thermal ensemble, and the answer that one expects for a pure state is actually larger. It's e to the minus f over 2 for this final fluctuating floor value. Sorry, that's an absolute value. Well, let's say the real part. We could go for the absolute value, but then hit it up a negative. Okay, so this has been a brief introduction to 2-point functions. The thing I want you to remember is that we expect them to decay. In fact, we expect them to decay exponentially. We can analyze it in perturbation theory, and we get a very slow decay, but we can't analyze very well, even to calculate it conservatively is annoying. Okay, the other aspect of thermalization that I'm going to discuss a little bit is this idea of a quench. So the 2-point functions are diagnosing what happens if we take an equilibrium system and perturb it a little bit. And a quench is asking a very different question. It's asking what happens if we take some state and excite it all of a sudden to some very high energy but very non-equilibrium state. So a model for this is a state Q, which is given by a product over X of some operators acting as X on the vacuum. So if we have, let's say, a lattice version of the system, then we can act at every site in the system with some local operator OX. Because we're acting everywhere in the system, we're going to raise the energy by an amount that's extensive. So we're going to turn this low energy vacuum state into some high energy thermal state. But it's going to be a very special kind of high energy state where all the quanta are sort of uncorrelated with each other. We just created them all out of nothing, independently at each site in the system. And then what happens under time evolution is they interact and collide, and the correlations become more non-local. There are a few different types of quantities that one can imagine computing to diagnose the approach to equilibrium of this state Q. A nice one is to consider the entropy of a subsystem A as a function of time. Okay. So at t equals 0, we've just acted with these local operators. Actually, let's imagine local unitary operators on the vacuum state. So at t equals 0, the subsystem entropy will be the same as what we had in the vacuum. So at t equals 0, it'll be the same as what we have in the vacuum. But who can give me an idea of what type of entropy we should expect to have for a subsystem in the vacuum state? So suppose we region, is there some geometrical feature of the region that would tell us what to expect for the entropy in the vacuum state? Sorry? Yeah, the area. So we expect to have the entropy of the cluster system A at time 0 to be proportional to area of A. And this will be divided by UV cutoff. Okay, and at very late time, we expect that this thing will approach an equilibrium thermal state, and there what this one expects for the entropy. Yeah, you expect an extensive entropy, something proportional to the volume. Okay, and now instead of being a UV scale, this would be divided by powers of beta, the thermal scale. So in between, there's some interesting thing that will happen where the entropy grows from something proportional to the area to something proportional to the volume. And this is something that really cannot be computed. It actually hasn't even been computed how this happens in perturbation theory. The one case where it's been analyzed purely in field theory is the case of a single interval in a 1 plus 1 dimensional field theory, where Calabresa and Cardi showed that this is completely determined by conformal invariance, and that what happens is the entropy increases linearly from the area answer to the volume answer, and then it saturates. In general, though, this is much harder to calculate than these 2-point functions, but the time dependence of this function for t less than 0 less than infinity is an interesting probe of thermalization. How rapidly these correlations become non-local. Yeah. Could you say that again?
How do you know that the function makes any sense? I mean, not defined.
Oh, yeah, so no, the entropy makes sense for any system, for any state. It's just minus the trace of the density matrix times the log of the density matrix. So SA of t means the following. You compute rho A of t, that's equal to the trace over A complement of the state we have, which would be e to the minus IHT, Q, e to IHT. Okay. So this gives us the density matrix on subsystem A, and then we compute SA as a function of time, which is minus trace rho A log rho A. Yeah, so my entropy here, I mean the von Neumann entropy, which is defined for any state. Okay. Yes. Yeah, well, one expects this to be monotonic. Actually, one expects also that at early times they should grow linearly. Although I'm not sure that one expected that before it had been calculated using black holes. So, sorry? Yeah, but the type of function one expects for this is, one expects this. I think I'm not drawing the same thing. One expects something like this. This is the volume answer, and here I'm plotting f of t minus f of 0. So this is the type of curve one expects, and properties of this thing, like for example the initial slope, that will be interesting diagnostics of the thermalization property of the system. Yeah, in principle one would like to be able to calculate the slope, let's say to a leading order in a coupling in a weakly coupled field theory, but I don't think anybody knows how to do that. It looks like a very difficult problem. Okay, so that's the introduction to thermalization without black holes. We discussed the 2-point function, where we can use perturbation theory, or we can do exact diagonalization. We also discussed this other type of probe, the quench, where you shock the system out of some low energy state to some locally correlated to high energy state, and then watch it equilibrate. Actually, I should have mentioned that for this system, you can also do these numerics on spin systems. Again, for systems of up to size 14 spins, one can plot this type of curve, and it looks along like that. Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, this is another thing that you can do, is to take all of a sudden a high energy state that's very, very far out of equilibrium. In that case, you might not have this feature that the entropy is small to begin with, so it depends on what the Hamiltonian was that you were using to begin with. Okay. So now, let me give a quick introduction to chaos. So first of all, we've been discussing so far relaxation to equilibrium. Decay is 2-point functions, saturation of these entropies, but in real-time dynamics there are also features that are growing with time, exponentially growing with time. This is something that studying classical chaos has taught us. So in 30 seconds, what I know about classical chaos can be summarized by thinking about this classic problem of a particle moving in a stadium that looks like this. This is a classically chaotic system. And what that means is that if we take a particle, let's say it's here, and it's going that way, and plot its trajectory, if we could displace the particle a little bit first, and then set it moving, it would have had a very different trajectory. And for this type of system, the displacement delta x of the particle's trajectory before and after we perturb it, as a function of time, will be growing exponentially in time, where the rate of exponential growth is called the Lyapunov exponent. for a much shorter time. This only happens until, let's say, delta x gets as big as it can. So in the stadium, delta x can only get as big as the stadium. And that will happen in a time which is like, the laws of the initial size of the perturbation, which is much shorter time than any of the Poincare times. Okay. Yeah, so there was a nice paper written about this in 1969 by Larkin and Ovchinnikov, who pointed out that you can see a version of this classical chaos in a semi-classical quantum version of the system. So what they did was they considered the commutator of a momentum operator P with a momentum operator for this particle at time 0. So P is T with T at time 0. And they argued that in a semi-classical limit, this should be equal to I H bar times the Poisson bracket of P is T, T is 0. Okay? And Poisson bracket. Probably I'll have the sign backwards. But so let's work out what that is. In this case, actually only one of these terms contributes. It's the term where, it's the second term here, where the derivative with respect to the momentum is hitting this vector. That's because the derivative with respect to position of this guy is 0. So what we get is minus I H bar times the derivative of T of T with respect to Q of 0. This is asking the following question. Suppose I take a trajectory and I look at the momentum at some time t in the future, given the initial conditions. Now I change the initial position of the particle a little bit, and I ask what the new momentum will be at time t. Now we've argued that these perturbations in these chaotic systems grow exponentially with a time scale set by the Lyapunov exponent. So what we expect this to be proportional to I H bar times something which is exponentially growing, e to the minus L times t. An important feature of this is that the sign in front of here can be both positive and negative. Momentum can be more in this direction or more in that direction, depending on exactly what initial condition we're talking about. So if we average this quantity over the thermal ensemble as it stands, we're going to get something which is 0, or at least very small. So instead what we can do is we can consider the square of this one, and then average it. And then the sign that appears here will always square something that's, actually still square something that's negative because of the factor of I. So we can consider this quantity, T is 0 squared. Now average this over the thermal ensemble. Our expectation based on this argument is that in a semi-classical system, this should be proportional to minus H bar squared times e to the lambda L T, where lambda L is the Lyapunov exponent of the classical system. Oh, sorry, lambda. Yes, absolutely. The interpretation of this is somehow that, T of T and T of 0, they almost commute because we're in a semi-classical limit of this one system, but they don't quite commute, and that it's actually something that grows exponentially as a function of time. Okay, so we can generalize this outside this single particle stadium picture to a general quantum system, and we can consider the commutator between arbitrary operators, W or T, T. And it's nice to put a minus sign here to cancel the minus sign that appears there. Our expectation for this quantity, based on this analogy, is that it should grow. That these operators should fail to commute if the time separation is large, regardless of which operator D and W we started with. The fact that it's independent of which operators we have is a version of the butterfly effect, which is that, we can think about this as giving us some kind of handle on how much measurements of W at time t can be screwed up by acting with V at time 0. And the intuition of the butterfly effect suggests that any experiment at a later time t can be screwed up by any perturbation at an earlier time 0. So if this time t here is large enough, we expect this expression to be large. Okay. So, maybe I have time to just mention that you can calculate this type of thing. Again, in the two types of systems that we've been dragging around through this whole lecture, we can think about loosely coupled quantum field theories, and we can calculate it first to leading order and decoupling, and what does indeed find that this thing is growing. Or we can think about these spin systems, and we can analyze them numerically. Maybe I'll say a couple more words about that at the start of the next lecture. But let me end here and see if there are any other questions. Well, one finds in, let's say, so one example we could take would be, let's say, some harmonic oscillators that are not interacting. And then the time dependence of this thing is basically nothing. harmonic oscillators start out commuting, and they remain commuting for all time. So this function is at 0 for all time. So that would be an example of an integrable system where this commutator doesn't become large. There are integrable systems that are less obviously integrable. So you could take, for example, one of these integrable spin chains, where the time evolution still looks non-trivial, but secretly it's sort of trivial. And there, again, one finds that there are commutators of this type that do not become large. No. Here, the treatment is intended to find. The statement here is that if the system is chaotic, then one expects the commutators to become large. I haven't made any particular statements about the case where it's not chaotic, except to give these two examples.